Okay, shall we start? See, in the last lecture, we had talked of OD assumptions that individuals, people who want to grow and mature, employees have much to offer, these are the assumptions. Most employees desire the opportunity to contribute. Okay. Now, similarly, so far as groups are concerned, the OD assumptions are as follows. Groups and teams are critical to organizational success. So, remember OD exercise, they focus on groups, they believe that groups are very critical for organization success. Groups have powerful influences on individual behavior, and the complex roles to be played in groups require skill development. So, there is a lot of training which has to be done in order for individuals to play their roles in the groups. There are many training modules which have been designed to help employees to work better in the groups. Okay. And for OD, this is one of the assumptions that group working is very important. Organization. OD believes excessive controls, policies and rules and procedures are not good, is detrimental to the effort of development. No policing, less policing. Conflicts can be functional if properly channeled. So, constructive confrontation, proper channeling, otherwise it becomes dysfunctional, disruptive and destructive. Individual and organizational goals can be compatible. So, what does that say? That this is not a class conflict theory, that goals of management will always be in conflict with goals of employees. OD does not say that. He said the goals of individuals in the organization and the goals of the management are both converging, they are congruent, because they are both working for some desirable mission. So, they are both congruent. These are fundamental beliefs. And with these assumptions, let us have a look at what is the OD process, the actual process. So, you have the initial diagnosis. You want to bring in a change, you want to use change management to develop your organization, all right. You have to make a diagnosis. Are you doing a planned change? If so, what is the state of affairs today? What is the desirable state of affairs at the end of the exercise, and how you bring this in. So, these are diagnostic principles which you have to follow. Then of course, you have to collect data. For instance, as a part of the OD, you may want to know what is the satisfaction level of your employees. Is the job satisfaction high? Performance you can know from the figures, but job satisfaction is difficult to know. So, you can have a survey done. There are instruments which can survey, and then you can find out, this is the data collection of what is the level of satisfaction for various parameters of work within your company. Data feedback and confrontation. Having got the diagnosis done, collected the data, so far as the employee are concerned, you have to give them feedback and constructive confrontation to start the change process. Action planning and problem solving. You have to make out a chart out a plan. If you want to have a lot of training done for reorienting the attitudes, that has to be done, all right. Use of interventions. What does intervention mean? Intervention means management actions or activities which are used for bringing change and evaluation and follow up. So, this exercise may take 2 years, 3 years. So, whilst you are carrying out the organization development exercise, you have to have checkpoints and milestones to monitor how things are going. Maybe this survey which you have, employee satisfaction survey, maybe you plan to repeat it after 1 year. and see whether there is any change in the satisfaction level. So, therefore, evaluation and follow up. Intervention. Intervention is an action or activity taken by management with a specific purpose, all right, to achieve some change. Example, you feel that the attitude of people, all right, are not result oriented. Let us say it is more oriented in the process. So, the result is suffering. So, how to change that? You may say that we will have some training modules and the employees in batches will attend the training module, where the training will be given to show them the importance of doing work, but doing it with a result orientation. That means, in time you should complete the work. The work should have an end instead of leaving it halfway through. Don't you find many people in many organizations, they continue to work hard and do work, but they don't seem to focus on achieving something at the end of it. Imagine a situation where you continue to work for 2 years, studying all the subjects you are studying, and then 2 years were over and you go away empty handed, no MTech degree. Do you think that is desirable? So, there must be a result finally, that is the point. And it is a fact that in many organizations, many people, many positions, many posts, there is no accountability for results. Those are the organizations which cannot survive in competitive environment. You must be result focused. So, if you want to achieve that and is not there in your company and you are the chief executive, you use a OD intervention. How to make people change their attitude? All right. Any questions now? Okay. So, OD techniques, if the management has decided, all right, we are going to have organization development, how do you go about it? Board of directors decides that. CEO is told to carry it out. So, use of change agent, this is one of the techniques. As we said, change agent or change leader can be inside, it can be individual, it can be group of your own managers, or it can be outsider, you call in consultant. Okay. Problem solving is one very important OD technique. Have you heard of quality circles? Huh? Nothing but this. It is a tool of OD to involve people, right, and change attitude. That is problem solving. Quality circle is nothing but having people in the department solve the problem instead of manager solving the problem. Experiential learning. Read this as experiential, not experimental. All right. Experimental is also there, but here it is used as experiential, because when employees who have never been part of problem solving in their lives, 10, 15 years they work, now they are inducted into quality circles. They are given the empowerment of solving the problem. They are experiencing a process, okay, and they are learning now, and in the process of learning, the attitude is changing. Now they identify themselves that we are also part of management, maybe a little lower level, but these are problems of the organization. So, we have ownership, this is our problem also, and furthermore, we are solving the problem. So, that is a learning process which leads to attitude change and it improves the results. Interventions at many levels. We just describe what is the intervention, and you should not limit it simply to daily rated workers or monthly rated staff. It should be managerial level, middle level managers, top management levels also. There are other ways of doing it, not a traditional training, but may be training with similar peer groups from other organizations who have been successful, or maybe a visit to some organizations where they have successfully brought in change management, study how they have done it elsewhere. So, there are many levels. And contingency orientation, what does that mean? Contingency is a situation. Depending on the situation, all right, you have to train people to tackle situations. So, that orientation of people should be that everything is not fixed and set in concrete. Remember, the attitude you are trying to bring in is you must be nimble and fast. When things change, your orientation, you as a person should be able to quickly adapt to that change and then solve that problem. So, that orientation. So, OD technique, one of the techniques is to make people more versatile, give the attitude that things are going to change. Once you learn, once you get your MTech degree, that is not enough. This whole course will change. All the courses are designed, redesigned. So, your orientation should be contingency orientation. Keep abreast of the changes. OD process applies behavioral science, knowledge and strategies to improve an organization. That is how it develops, organization development. So, here is a summary. When you talk of change management or managing change, broadly what are you doing? You are attempting to change culture, you are doing team building, building teams, you are re-engineering and you are imparting training. So, this is a broad framework of change management. So, let us look at them one by one. Culture. A business culture emerges in response to organizational strategy. Strategy tends to conform to the capabilities of the existing culture. Now, you see this kind of dichotomy or a conundrum, both seem to be correct. A business culture emerges in response to organizational strategy, but at the same time strategy tends to conform to the capabilities of the existing culture. So, it is kind of two sides of the same coin. Do you think it is contradictory or it can coexist side by side? It can coexist. Okay. Here are some questions about your culture of the organization. What is your culture? Ask an open-ended question. Say, if I were here as a moderator or facilitator of a training program, in organization development exercise in a company, this is one question I might ask. Please write down on a piece of paper and give it to me. What is your culture as an individual, and what do you think is a culture of this organization where you are working? It stimulates thought. What you write, if I look at all the 8 responses, it gives me a little window into what is the cultural situation within the company. Will it take you where you want to go, or are you having a culture which will lead you nowhere near your mission? What will work better? How will we get there? What are the changes we need to introduce in our existing culture? And how will we do so? What techniques to use? How to go about it? Okay. These are questions which you need to ask when you are looking at this changing culture framework. We said there are 4. Culture is one important way to bring in OD. And so, how can culture be changed? The mission changes. Mission is the fountainhead of all activities, we said, isn't it? It operates within a broad vision which is utopian. Vision is something you may never be able to achieve, but from that comes a mission, which is a road to reaching your vision, and that is the fountainhead of all other activities, policy framework and operational procedures of the company. So, the mission changes you need to change culture. And the other way around, if you want to change culture, reorient your mission. Major strategies are redefined. Skills change. See, all this follows. Work systems change. People are seriously affected. We discussed about this in the last class. Policies and practices change. Processes change. And results are visible. Any questions? We have the change leader, we said, or the change agent. Leadership is crucial to establishing the direction and change and to energize the process. Training helps to lead and model the new behavior more consistently and more effectively. We are talking of behavioral changes in individuals, we are talking of behavioral changes in collective working of whole groups of people, department, the entire company. Leadership is the key, it's very important. Culture change, processes have to change if culture is to change. Let me give you a simple example. Say the culture was not very time focused in the organization. Example is, every day so many departments are there, it's a large company, all right, and so many meetings are held. Let us say every day 10 meetings are held in various departments. But the meetings don't start in time often, and they don't have a certain time period after which it should end. Okay? And that has been the culture. Why? Because that is the process which is happening. So, here we say processes have to change if the culture should change. So, as part of OD, you said we will now decide, all of us, let us decide that meetings everyone will come in time. If you are not in time, don't come. And people accept this. Second is, when we come for meeting, when a meeting is announced, don't give the venue and the date and the time of beginning. Give the time when it will end also. So, meeting is called in conference room number 1, okay, on let us say Tuesday the 9th of November. Meeting will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Give the time. What are you doing? You are trying to change a culture by changing a process. Earlier the process was open ended. People did not come maybe on time. When they came, the meeting never ended on time. And then you say that every formal meeting that is called, formal meeting, must have a minutes within so many days of conclusion of the meeting. You are trying to change the process, right? Next, you formalize. Every minutes must have the allocation of responsibility and the time target for achieving the implementation of any decision. So, you are formalizing the minutes. This is an example I am giving of a way processes have to change if culture is to change. So, it is not all airy fairy. When you talk of culture, there are specifics, the ways in which you work, the process you adopt, that has a very important bearing in what culture develops in the organization. For instance, people sent for training. So far, we have been nominating people for going to training to various outside institutions. So, company spends money, they are away, for 3 days, they undertake training and come. Now, we say that everyone who is sent for training must give a seminar to his department, so that what he has learned, part of it can be shared by others. What are we doing? Changing a process. And in the process of doing so, are we not changing a culture? because in the old days people may have gone, these trainings are held in 5-star hotels, go there, don't take any notes, don't learn anything finally, have a nice lunch, meet people, socialize and come back. But now when we say you have to make a seminar, what happens then? He becomes more aware. He sits in the front row probably and then takes notes, because he has to make a seminar. We are making it accountable, we are changing the process. And in that change of process, we are sowing the seeds for changing a culture. Don't you think the company will in a course of time become more productive and performance? Maximum value will be taken from all the money the company is spending for training their managers and employees. Give me one example now. I have given you 2 examples. You tell me, because this is very important. Culture change is one of the pillars for OD change. And if you want, and you will be called upon in your careers at times to change the culture. So, you must internalize these concepts and practice them. So, anyone wishes to give an example? No? Okay. Think about it. You will find many examples from your own working. So, psychology of changes, people go through 3 main phases of change. Holding on, that is the doubters, that what we have done in the past is very good, we do not find any need for change. So, we hold on. Then letting go, then maybe, just maybe, that there is some truth in what so and so the change leader is saying. Maybe we should experiment. So, letting go. Then moving forward, you let go and say, oh, this sounds good, so let us try it now. So, this is the psychology of change. Re-engineering is typically, what does re-engineering do? It looks to fix broken processes. What is a broken process? Let me give you an example from educational institution. We all know there are many colleges in our country, okay, where timetable is set, professors are there, students are enrolled, but classes are not held. Do you know that? Why? Because the professors may be teaching in tutorial classes, or not teaching at all. Yes or no? Would you accept that I call it a broken process? It is a process of teaching and learning which is broken, not happening. How do you fix it? See, this is part of OD. How do you change that culture? That is what we have been talking about even last lecture. Then we said there are ways to do it. One, what we said is coercion, isn't it? Can't get away from it. Then we said participation and so on. So, now are you having an idea of what is this change management and OD? Is to do with human beings, but it does not exclude technology, ways of working, processes, but essentially the OD philosophy we said, we are addressing the human being. Success of re-engineering, common vision of companies' business realities. Can't get away from involving people. No barriers of rank and function. Do you understand what this sentence means? Does it mean that there is no managing director, no vice president, no senior managers, no junior managers? It does not mean that. There are managers, but barriers in relationships and approach. Okay? And there are small outward manifestation which helps to bring down these barriers. Now, many companies, they follow the principle of not doing hierarchical, dining halls. Everyone eats in the same dining hall, whether it is a blue collar workman or it is the head of the plant. You cannot, of course, it is not practical to do it everywhere, but the very fact that this is happening, all right, gives a feeling to everyone that in this company we are more egalitarian. That means we are not that hierarchical. Many companies use this concept now of open office. What is open office? That there are no cabins in which senior people sit. There is one large hall, maybe one corner the department head is there, maybe you have got little cubicles, partitions which are half height partitions, but you can hear people talking, you can see what other people are doing. That is to bring in an open culture, that we are all equal here, but we have more responsibilities or less responsibilities. Okay? So, these are little processes which companies are adopting. In the old system, old dispensation, the top managers when they came, their attendance, they never signed anything, maybe. Sometimes the peon will bring the book, to the Bara Sahab and okay, maybe he'll sign, or they won't even bring the book to the Bara Sahab, they'll bring it to his secretary. Secretary will put P. Now many companies are saying there's electronic punching clock, everyone will record that time. So symbols, rituals, you may call it symbolic, ritualistic, but they are very important for building a culture. Okay? Any questions? Everybody shares how things should work. May not be working right now, but you share it. Don't you think that we should be doing it this way? What is it that we can do to change so that we achieve the desirable, which you all think is the desirable way of working? What is it that we can do? Top management keeps job of leadership, direction and prioritization, but the whole organization participates and gives the inputs. Top management just don't sit in a closed cabin and say we know what is good for 2000 people in an organization. Whole organization participates and gives inputs. You can do it, there are ways, by having training programs for groups of 30 people at a time. It's costly, it is time consuming, but experience has shown in many organizations that the rewards you get are very fulsome. You recoup all the money and time you have spent in increases in productivity, performance, all right, which is many times more in money value than the money and time that you have spent. These are facts. We call a company turnaround. What does a turnaround means? It was going in a direction, maybe downhill, all right. There is a mountain going and you would have fallen off the edge. That is where it was going. Turn it around totally like a car and it goes to the uphill. So, turnaround is basically about, all right, change management and organization development. Any questions? You revitalize a company with this. Energy levels become high. People feel ownership for the organization in their own spheres of activity. Obvious gains are realized. Obvious gains are what? Normal reporting figures. What has been the sales? What has been the profits? All right. What has been the cost of production? These are the obvious gains which you realize. Costs are going down, sales are going up, profits are going up. People are not leaving you. When you want to hire people, you have more applications which are coming, because obviously the image has improved in the market. These are obvious. Ongoing process teams are identified and chartered. Ongoing process team, that means the way of working, maybe you are doing it in a departmental way, that is each department functionally in a bureaucratic or a mechanistic structure. Now you are adopting slowly, doing work by teams, cross-functional teams, and you identify and charter them. What does it mean charter? You give them empowerment, that from now on you will be working together, not individually in your departments, and things happen fast. These are all findings of actually companies not in America, but companies in India who have done it and who have transformed themselves. Any questions? Okay. So, all this is good, we desire to do it. We know that you have special people change leaders and change agents, all right, but they are few and far between. It is not easy to find them. So, sometimes you may have to train them. Your own managers have to be indoctrinated, if I may say so. They have to be inculcated into the spirit which will make them good change agents and change leaders. So, strategies for effective functioning of change agent. Familiarization strategy. Get to know the organization thoroughly. This is a very evident and obvious thing. If you want to change anything in the organization, don't you have to know what is existing right now, and you have to know it both vertically as well as horizontally throughout the organization. Acceptance strategy. Develop contacts with stakeholders and build up credibility. Stakeholders within the company and outside the company. Maybe you do a customer satisfaction survey to find out what is the expectation of your customers from you as a company. Send questionnaires, interview them, collate the results and come to conclusions that their expectation, are we meeting it? Do we have processes in place which are giving them the satisfaction? What is the index? Can we set a target? Today the index of customer satisfaction is X. Tomorrow we want to make it X plus delta X. We want to increase the satisfaction. What about your dealers? Dealers are people who are very important to you, as important maybe as your employees. What are the dealers doing? They are your marketing arm, your extended arm, isn't it? They give you the reach into the market, dealers, sub-dealers. So, in a sense also, they are your clients because they are buying from you and reselling it to other people. What is their expectation of you? So, acceptance strategy, develop contact with stakeholders and build up their credibility. Change strategy, identify the points in the system where the change agent wishes to initiate action. Very important, large organization, so many things you can do. How do you prioritize? Do you do a ABC analysis? If so, on what philosophy? Is it that you are going to improve the client's satisfaction first, or first priority you give to your employee satisfaction? So, these are things which you have to decide. Institution building, installation of norms and values conducive to the continuation of the new systems. We talked of certain ways of working, isn't it? Saying meetings must start on time, they must end, and so on. And we said that in order for us to build a culture, we are setting in place these processes, right? Now, this says installation of values conducive to the continuation of the new system. So, these are ways in which you instill values and institutionalize it by practice. If it happens for a year and is working, maybe you make a prize. You say those departments, all right, which have a higher score of doing meetings in the way it is supposed to be done, will get a prize. What are you doing? Institutionalizing it, making it desirable. What kind of skills and competencies should a change agent possess? Professor Khandwala emphasizes the following 8 skills for a change agent to be successful. Professor Khandwala has done a lot of research on this. He used to be at one time the director of the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad. So, a lot of research he has done, and he recommends that change agent should have these 8 skills, basic skills, then he will do a good job. One is sensing ability, ability to sense the power dynamics, norms, practices and real priorities animating the organization. Understand this or not? No. Power dynamics, when you join an organization, all right, you have to understand the power dynamics, means you have to see who are the important people. on whom others are dependent. So, they exercise power. Who are the important, or which are the important departments on whom other departments depend, all right, and how is this power exercised? For instance, one simple thing of power dynamics is that you as an individual, all right, if you want to work with other people, you need to meet them. You find that you have to go and meet in their cabin managers from, say, accounts or finance and from personnel. Whereas others, you can ask them, they will come to your cabin. Do you find any difference in this? What's the difference? Maybe these are the kind of, what are you doing? You are sensing it. Is anyone telling you? No. Very simple things. There are some people, all right, who when you are not there, you receive a message, all right, and the message says, asks you to call back, and you find that you have to call back. Others, when you are not there, there is no message to call back. They will again call you. Second time, you may not be there, third time. Do you sense any power dynamics there? Isn't it? So, these are the things, the ability which a change agent have to have, a kind of sensing ability. Okay? Stress tolerance. Ability to withstand failures and criticism without letting go of the larger vision of excellence. Very, very difficult. All of us tend to get demotivated and discouraged in the face of criticism, don't we? We feel very nice if someone praises us, but many of us, we will not sleep well at night if someone criticizes you. There are individuals who have stress tolerance which is more. They can take this. Change leaders or change agents need to have it, according to Professor Khandwala. So, they need to see that in order for you to do an excellent job in change management, these individuals need to see, okay, this is time. I am making just a conceptual diagram, and this is change, all right. They need to see this is the vision, this is where they want to achieve, and they need to understand that there may be ups, downs, but they don't lose sight of this vision. That is what it says. Even if there are these are reverses, it is going down here, all right, but it goes up again, goes down here. Finally, they don't lose sight of this vision by getting discouraged. Ability to withstand failures and criticism without letting go of the larger vision for excellence, larger vision. Problem solving skills, ability to spot problems or anomalies, analyze them and generate a variety of new solutions and approaches. See, sometimes we say that your ability and your expertise to solve problems is only as good as the number of options that you can generate. That is where your innovation comes in and your creativity. What are the kind of possible options you can create? Then it gives you a larger board from which to select. Okay? Support and resource mobilization. Can you mobilize resource? You are given a job to change. You require a lot of resources for it. You have to have the ability to network. All right? Networking we talked about in this course. See how important it is for change agents, very important. Network and get the resources. People, you want 2 good people from departments. Do you think other department heads will spare good people, say I want for 1 year? They will say no, we have people, but you see he cannot be spared, we can give you this. You should have to find out, maybe he is the worst fellow, doesn't do any work. So, you have to have the ability to somehow get that man whom you want. How? That is your engineering. How will you do that? Go to the big boss and say, sir, you have given me this job, change agent's job, no? Very important for company, but I have to have good people, and there is one good man in this department. See, if you talk to the department head, then it will be very good for the company. What are you doing? You are using your ingenuity to mobilize resource, all right. Get them charged, get around red tape and spot unutilized and underutilized resources. Red tape, what is red tape? We discussed this. Bureaucratic procedures which delay, where the rules are more important than the work to be done. You become a slave of procedure instead of being the master of procedure and using procedures to make you more efficient, become the slave and prisoner of the procedures and rules. Planning and implementing ability, change agent should have that. The competence to plan operations, set targets, allocate tasks, monitor implementation, coordinate, etc. These are traditional managerial skills and competencies, right? Roles and functions of a manager, he must be a good manager. Communication skills, again, have we not studied that one of the critical elements for success of a manager is communication, is it not? And interpersonal relationships. So, here too ability to communicate clearly, persuasively and honestly, also the ability to give and receive feedback, ability to sell ideas, changes and innovations, because you are trying to bring in change. So, you must have this ability. Skills of building a team to implement the change, ability to recruit people with the right mix of skills and expertise, create in them a sense of motivation, respond to their needs and concerns, have them participate in decision making, develop mutual trust, focus on the team's operating processes, periodically take stock of progress participatively, keep the team posted on significant external developments. In other words, you set an example that you are a team worker yourself, walk your talk, practice what you preach. You are supposed to use team approach and focus for change management and OD. As a change leader, you need to demonstrate very visibly that you yourself are practicing that, only then there will be credibility, right. So, having said that these are the 8-point framework of Professor Khandwala for what the change agents competencies are, here is a conceptual framework for change agentry. One is problems of change agentry. What are the problems in work organization development which change agents have to manage? Number 2, methods of change agents. What methods can change agents employ when they face these problems? Okay. Number 3, dynamics of change agentry. What can change the methods practiced by the change agents? Change agents as persons. Can the actions of change agents be explained by their personal dispositions? That is the personal traits and qualities of the change agents. You as a change agent, when you have a job to do to make changes, you also have a dilemma. We call it the dilemma of change agents. First dilemma of change is because the change agent has a choice between two approaches. One is directive approach and the other is supportive approach. You have a choice, you are a change agent, you have to bring in the change. Directive is ensures results, but does not guarantee wider participation of the members. So, in essence, what is directive approach? You as a change agent, you and your maybe a small team, you decide what are the methods you are going to use for bringing in change, what are the processes you will identify for bringing in change, and then you tell it, telling and maybe selling. So, telling and selling means what? You tell that we want to achieve this, and you sell, you tell them why it is important to achieve it, but it is directive, you are doing it. Supportive approach is what? Ensures wider participation of people without guaranteeing results. Supportive is you want others to come out with plan, you support the plan, that is you cast yourself in a role of facilitator and moderator, not designer and implementer. Are you getting the difference? As an agent, you have the choice. If you have the supportive approach, right, you can ensure wider participation of the people without guaranteeing the results produced. So, remember, whenever you do a participative, all right, it takes more time, all right, and in the short run you may not guarantee results, but in the long run normally it is a better approach. So, you have to balance the contingencies. Can you afford to take this approach? That is where you have to make the choice. Or would you rather, in a big company with many plants, would you rather focus on one plant, have a directive approach, time bound, and in a short time bring the change which are measurable, so that that is a visible demonstration to the other plants that if you adopt this system, you can also improve. Do you take that approach or not? You say, I may be able to do it in this plant, but since I haven't involved people of the other plants, it will not have credibility, they may not do it. It will not guarantee a cascading effect of success in the other plants. So, this is the dilemma, what choice do you do? So, this is what we call the change dilemma, and now there is another dilemma, that is the learning dilemma. The experiential approach ensures learning in a particular unit which experiences change, but does not guarantee its spread throughout the organization, which I just told you about one plant you take, it does not guarantee that it is spread to the other plants. The diffusion approach emphasizes communicating throughout the organization of the unit's insights, that is all the 10 plants say, take all of them and communicate throughout these plants the unit's insights about the change process, the unit, even if it is detrimental to create conducive atmosphere for innovation to flourish in a particular unit. That is, instead of taking a focused approach in one place which is directive, take a participative approach, all right, and diffuse it through all the plants or the entire organization. Which do you do it? Which will make for better learning? That is the dilemma which you will face as a change agent. You have to decide depending on various contingencies. And if we call the change spectrum, what are the various areas in which you want to bring in change which will be beneficial? That is a spectrum. Changes in organizational structure. The change may involve the structure change. These entail redefinition of roles and relationships. This took place, all right, both at TCCL and Agricultural Finance Corporation, Zimbabwe. These are two cases which I had done. So, this is a reference to that. Changes in organization processes. So, first was structure, second processes. Within the spectrum, this is another area where change has to be brought in. These involve lending clarity to interrelationships between functionaries and workflow patterns between different subunits. This too had taken place in both the organization. So, processes are like what? A process like recruitment and selection, it is one of the processes, bring in some change in that. Decision making processes, centralization or decentralization, performance management processes, these are the various processes which we have to change. We have to change the performance management process, make it more focused. Deployment of a humanistic approach, this as a trigger for organizational change. This is very fundamental and basic, because we said the entire OD philosophy is based on humanistic approach. So, it is based on the notion that people are the key to change, people are the key, and they can cooperate fully only when there is a congruence between individual and organizational goals. And then the political approach to change, it concentrates, this is the various spectrum in which you address change, you see, concentrates on allocation of power and resources amongst competing units within an organization. It makes creative use of friction and animosity among individuals and units to push for significant changes. Creative use of friction. Remember when we talked of conflict, we talked of 3 schools of conflict: traditional school, the human relations approach school, and the interactionist school. Remember, we said interactionist schools say conflict is desirable, you should promote conflict, but functional conflict. So, here friction and little animosity, but containable, it should not become disruptive, dysfunctional. Okay? And then from political we have the systems approach to change. It focuses on the interrelationships of a particular unit or division with the organization. This approach would be successful only when there is a strong shared vision and a plan to translate it into action. Then strategic management approach to change, it is appropriate in highly competitive and turbulent environments. Very significant investment, diversification and divestiture choices best illustrate strategic management change. Changes in the vision, mission, values and culture. These become imperative when an enterprise needs to eschew its old ways, lock, stock and barrel, and transform itself into a new organization. What is the meaning of eschew? Discard, reject and start new. And last is technology and applied science approach to change. It emphasizes the incremental nature of change, wherein people are adopting small changes all the time. This approach could be quite relevant to settled times, stable period, and to stable businesses and environments where change is neither swift nor violent. So, within this spectrum, this is also a 8-point spectrum. This is where you address changes and bring in change management and organization development. So, that brings us to the end of this topic. Thank you very much.